They say you don't become a witch. That it's just one day you wake up and realize that's what you've always been. The one that doesn't always fit in. The one that likes the woods, the sun and sky, cats, owls, and the moon. The one who stays up late reading books, playing role-playing games, and learning the names of the stars. The one that likes to wear black eyeliner, capes. And then you realize, oh, that's what I am. I'm a witch.
Yay! Hey, it's Belladonna Laveau coming to you today for the Seeker's Path. I'm so excited to be here with you. I have my wonderful spiritual mother-in-law. Like she's my mother-in-law by spirit, but definitely by marriage. Lillith Threefeathers, who is an Orisha in the Lakumi tradition. I'm going to try not to butcher this. Orisha Omilana Omoyamaya.
Very well done.
Yay! And a priestess of Lilith and Dark Mother mysteries, a shaman, a lot of depth. When you hear Dusty say, I was raised Native American spiritualist, this is the woman who raised him. Dusty has 3 mothers, and Lilith is his spiritual mother and really responsible for the asset to Wicca that you have today. Thank you so much, Lilith. We appreciate you. That was a tough one to wrangle. I know he was. I've had him for 20 years.
Hi, Bella. It's great to be here. He was quite a joy. He was quite a joy. I won't say anything else.
he definitely is delightful.
I had an extra boy in my house. Didn't seem to make a whole lot of difference other than to the refrigerator.
Yep. He loves to eat. He cooks for me now. He loves to eat.
That's awesome.
He does. He's definitely a delight and very, very magical. Very, very magical.
Yes, he is.
And I know that he learned so much of that magic from you. So you are teaching in Wiccan Seminary.edu, Wolstenstein Theological Seminary, which is the college that I founded and the ATC is the sponsor of. What classes do you teach?
Oh, I love teaching there. So I have some classes on shamanism. I have an Intro to Shamanism course and Basics of the Dreaming Path course, which you don't have to know shamanic journeying to take that course. If you know meditation, that's enough to take that course. I also teach several classes on dark goddesses and one on the Orishas for Wiccans. And I have a graduate level course in crystals, and I have a new course coming up on the universe of the dark goddesses.
So many awesome classes. And it's so exciting that, like, when we were coming up, this wasn't a possibility, right? Like, you couldn't go somewhere and go, let me see which class to, that was not, which college level class to take on Wicca. It's really incredible. I am excited to be able to have this hopefully still available when I reincarnate next time, because I can't imagine coming up as a new magical student with this resource. So thank you for what you do and for all the knowledge you bring to the college.
Thank you for giving me the platform to do it on. When I was in my 20s and trying to learn about the goddess, I used to take a train by myself to Chicago to meet with a coven in Chicago because that was the closest one I could find, and it was hard.
It was hard. It was very hard. I went to a place in Chicago when I was in the military way back in the day, 83, 93, somewhere, I don't know, a long time ago. Yeah. And it was really difficult. They were meeting in a basement of a store.
It was all secret.
So, it was all secret. Yeah. Now we're all over YouTube. Yay. So praise Goddess. Today we're talking about wands on the Seeker's Path. I'm so excited because Lola's not going to get to be here with us today. That's not the part I'm excited about. The part I'm excited about is when I started thinking about who could I get to come on who isn't somebody who's one of my students that is just going to say the things I'm going to say, right? Like somebody who could bring us a different perspective and be able to speak about why, right? And so I came up with my beautiful and wonderful, cherished mother-in-law, and I'm so glad that you're here. We are going to talk about wands today. So wands are sometimes put in the north, and sometimes they're put in the south. Sometimes they're put with air. Sometimes they're put in the east with the air. Sometimes they're put in the south with fire. Sometimes they're put in the north with air. There's a lot of different ways that people see wands. And so there's a lot. I have so many wands on my desk. I can't wait to share them with you. But what would you, it's the energy of fire and passion. How would you describe wands? What would you say wands are for? What do they do?
Well, the way I was raised, I say that raised as in spiritually raised. Some people thought it was fire, and some people thought it was air, but most of them thought it was air. So we have a different tradition there, in that wands were considered air and not fire. Whereas I know a lot of other people put them under fire and but to us, the athame was fire, because you needed to forge it to make it. It had to be forged in fire to be made. So that was the tradition that I studied in most of the time. Of course, Native Americans don't use tools like wands, so unless you're talking about a smudge stick.
A smudge stick. Well, a smudge stick would be somewhat of a wand, though, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And a feather would be kind of like an athame.
Yes.
Yeah. So they use different tools in the same ways, though, and I think that that's beautiful, because I believe that everybody is expressing spirit and they're interpreting them in their own language, and that's why you have to make room for everybody to be right. There's no wrong way to do art. Art is art.
Right.
And as much as witchcraft is a science, it is also an art.
So tell me about how you use wands.
So we see wands as fire and swords as air. Well, a sword and words, we relate swords with a skilled knowledge. You don't want to take you don't want to use a sword. You don't want to get in a knife fight if you know how to use a knife, right? But anybody can pick up a stick and hit somebody with it. Cavemen walk around with sticks. It's a very instinctual weapon. We consider that both of them represent the phallus, the projective male energy, the going out energy. But wands work more like a penis. They go pew, pew, pew. Whereas as an athame kind of gives us steady strength, more like a lightsaber, so
I love it.
Also, you can light wands on fire. I go by the tarot. I was taught by a Kabbalist, and he used the tarot, and in the tarot, swords and air are often together, and wands are often on fire. And so I consider things of fire are things that you would use as fuel, and wood you would use as fuel, but we have some wands that are not wood, right?
Right.
I would very much consider this.
That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, this is beautiful, but it's a wand, but it works a little bit differently than, say, a wand like this. Right. But they're also very artistic. Wands have an artistic quality that is fire. And swords, somebody's got to teach you how to do a sword. Oh, do we lose Lillith? Oh, we're looking at the wand. Isn't this beautiful? This is Pete Davis' wand. It It was lost for a while, and then it was rediscovered somehow.
Whose wand is it?
Pete Davis made this wand. This was his wand, and it got lost for a while, and we couldn't find it. And then it reappeared one day in a place where we would have found it if it had been there.
It went
And so-
wandering into the other realities.
Yeah. Wooden wands work a lot differently, but they're all different, and they're all works of art, you know, and they like to combine stones, which I think are really neat, because I associate wands with the pentacle, such as, I imagine there's a pentacle on my desk somewhere in all of this stuff. Let's see. Oh, yep, here we go, right here, an altar pentacle. So I kind of see wands as, you know, you pull things through the altar pentacle and you use the energy,
Right.
something with it, right?
Right.
Whereas with an athame, you kind of use it in a chalice.
Sure.
So there's difference, and that's why I was like, let's talk about the differences, because if wand is with air, what does that symbolize, and how do you use it? Because it's different.
It's more of an invitation than a protection, I guess I would say, is the main difference. I've done both ways, and having a wand, like this wand has a protective element to it, okay? But most of them are they're like gentler, aren't they? Than an athame. An athame, like you said, seems like, you know, like a lightsaber, as you put it.
Yes.
And to me, the wand is you're inviting certain spirits to come in when you use a wand. You're inviting certain energies to come in that are different than those that you would invite in with an athame.
That's the one. See, if you're going to use a wand to summon, you're going to get things like fae, right? And things that would be turned off by iron or steel or metal of some sort.
Right.
So if you're working, which is, and fairy faith wands have a lot of stones on them like this. This is, I didn't make this, but this is very much indicative of working with the fae. You've got all of these rocks and all of this crystal energy and the hangy dragon thing. And see this, it allows you to access points on the crystal. And each one of these crystals lends a different kind of energy. And I didn't make this, so I don't know all the symbolism, but there is a detailed piece of paper that goes through all of this stuff that the artist did. This is just an olive wand.
Sure.
Right? It has a little bit of an onyx grounding stone, but it's an olive wand. So it only uses the wood and the energy of the wood, where something like this is very much, baby, the theosist wants to be seen first.
Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous.
The Mother Church has museum artifact qualities, and this is
beautiful.
This is a Dionysian theosist. That's what. Yeah, it's got grapes all over it. This is very much a fertility object, right?
Certainly.
Very much a fertility object. Whereas this one, this is made in fairy style, where you've got the rocks and you've got the metal. The metal wraps all the way around. The difference in this one is that it is a very worn out flying broom.
Look at that.
With a jetpack engine on the back, if I can get it in front of the camera, because it's so long. And there's now this one has had it's a rough go of it, and it needs to be repaired, but it'll be its second repair, because Mama likes to ride.
That's great.
This
That's
is
great.
this is a riding broom. It's a lodestone, an iolite. It's got a sodalite. It's all of these stones that are designed to cause you to astral project. Whereas, you've got stone. You can program wands to do healing or protection, like you said, and things like that. This is specifically designed for. It's a flying broom. That's what it is, and it has the handle at the top because that's where you hold a broom, right? Whereas other wands, the handle is at the bottom. But with a broom, you're holding it like this, and you set on it, and you go that way because the energy comes out this way anyway, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
wands are so fun. There's so
They
much
are.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of big ones here too, but they're not anywhere near as fancy as yours. But I have one here that helps me get in touch with the plant spirits.
Ooh.
So that's this one. I don't know. It's not very. I don't know if you can see it. It's
Cool. Yeah.
This came from a tobacco barn.
Mhm.
So it's so it's associated with the harvesting of plants and the using of herbals, medicines.
Wow.
As I've gotten older and more lame, my wands have gotten bigger.
Me too. I want a big one. I don't know. This is a really cool one, and I have the benefit of a 40-year collection, so it's a little bit different for me. This is not my personal stuff. This is the Aquarian Tabernacle Church's collection. So
Beautiful.
it's beaded all the way up, Lilith, and it is a broom.
Look at that. That is gorgeous. Who did that beading? That's quite
I wish I knew. This stays over the doorway to the Mother Church to keep out negative energy, right? Like unwanted energies.
That's very artistic.
Yeah, and then of course, then there's just the regular walking stick, like you said, just a regular walking stick. Dusty picked up a stick in the yard like this. We were invited to this lady's house, and she wanted to take us for a walk on their property, and never found a morel in our lives. Didn't know it was morel season or not. I think she said it wasn't morel season. He picked up this stick, and he went, "Ooh, this is a mushroom wand," and he waved it, and then we found 3 mushrooms right there. And then he did it again later. She was like, "How'd you do that?" And he did it again, and then there were more mushrooms. He gave it to the lady. I don't know if she still uses it, but
That's awesome.
wands do all kinds of stuff, but I think they manifest our desires.
I think that wands change as our spiritual needs change, and they change as our spiritual growth progresses. So like this is, you were talking about an old wand. This one I showed you already. This I've had for, I don't know, maybe 40 years. And you can see it's lost some things off of it, which it wants me to replace them, but that requires a lot of dexterity to
Right. And the ability to see. See, this is my favorite barrette, so that I can have my eyes when I need them. Right. I love it's my hairstyle with my favorite barrette. Yeah.
And I have some pretty plain ones. I mean, there's this one, which was given to me by the tree, so it's special that way.
Mm.
And my prettiest wand didn't want to come on camera. I'm very upset about that. Then I have this one that is, we're looking at the great big ones. This is my shamanic wand. So you can see it's very different from, the energy is very different. It's, even though it's a wand, it has a lot of air on it. It's got a lot of earth and fire too.
Yeah.
So it kind of has almost all the elements there. So.
Well, and I like that. I just realized I've got one right here that I keep right on my desk. My desk is an altar, you guys. It is just full of magic.
I'm
But
sure.
this is a really cool wand. It is a bone, and it's got a amethyst point on the end, and it's encrusted with amethyst around the top, and it's filled with amethyst. You
It's nice. That's
can you hear
nice.
it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I like it that it's filled with something too, because it sounds like fire, sizzling bacon, something like that, right?
It's very cool.
So
Yes. It's got like a rattle inside it.
right, right. And so there's all these different ways that you can use wands, and you can even use them in, like, you're stirring a cauldron. I tell people your place setting at the table is, it's a cup, it's a chalice, it's a plate, it's a knife, and it's a fork and a spoon, right? And so that fork and a spoon, that's your wand. However, you're gonna, because that's a sacred setting to you and everybody that's there. With eating is a ritual. So when you're
Right.
stirring your soup, that's a cauldron of magic, and you should consider that what you're putting into, especially if you're using a wooden spoon, what you're putting into that pot with your mind when you're cooking. I
That's
always put
wonderful. That's wonderful. I like that idea. That's great. Yeah.
I always put love in your food. That's what makes it so yummy.
That's right. Got to bless it as you do it, especially if you're cutting onions.
My mother used to say, "Hold a piece of bread in your mouth if you're cutting onions,"
Hmm.
and it would always fall.
You put a cracker in your mouth. That works.
Okay, so let's answer some questions. We
Okay.
have, what is the difference between large wand and a small wand? Are they the same energy?
Well, my first answer would be no, but then again, no wand has the same energy as any other wand. To me, they all have different energies. Um, I mean, unless you're making them all out of the same substance, then maybe they might feel the same, but I don't think so. So yes, there are differences between a large wand and a small wand. A large wand acts like a staff, so it gives you a ground, more solid ground.
Correct.
So when
Uh,
you put that on the ground, when you're holding it, you're not holding it up in the air. It's on the ground. Yeah.
and so you use big wands like staffs, different from how
Adria
you.
is here. Oh my gosh.
Yay! Yay!
It's good to see
So
you, Otter Woman.
wands are supposed to be from elbow to the tip of your middle finger, or to your pointing finger, from your nose or underneath your arm to your pointing finger, and either the size of your index finger or no bigger than this, right? And if you've ever held a stick that's this big around, I will tell you it's heavy. So you want something that's lighter.
Right.
And I like to take my wands from living wood and then dry it out and skin it, right? And dry it out and sand it and oil it and sand it and sand it and sand it and sand it a lot more until it's really smooth, right? And then carve it out and do what I want to it. Do you choose living things, or do you pick dead ones up?
Well, it depends, okay? Because the within my tradition, the getting of a wand is like a search. It's a quest. So you might dream about what the wand is supposed to look like, in which case it may look like something you can buy in a store, or it might not. But when you go on that quest, even if you don't have a dream, you set the intention to get a wand, it's going to show up along your path. So maybe you go for a walk in the woods, and when you come to the tree, if it wants you to take a living branch, it's going to be a branch that it needs to not have anymore.
Right.
It's a branch that needs to be removed from the tree for some reason or other. And you always have to ask permission. You have to make sure that's the right branch, it's the right tree. And I believe you have to leave an offering, which can simply be a prayer or words of thanks or a song. But then you take that in a sacred way. So it starts right at the beginning. When you're making your own wand, it starts at the beginning with the sacred intention. So you don't even have it yet, and you set the intention in a sacred manner so that you can, proceed, and it can have the balance that it needs to have in it and the healing power that it needs to have in it. Because we're doing this, right, to heal ourselves. I mean, yes, there are a lot of people who would say we do this for the power, but we want that power so that we can heal, so we can heal ourselves, so we can heal others, so we can heal the world.
Exactly.
So all of that gets put into the wand, into the intention. But it could be that you come across a tree and it says no. It says take one that's on the ground. And it may still have leaves on it, in which case that's a real blessing because it's dropped it there for you.
Yes. 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 I love that answer. 100% I agree with everything that you just said. Yeah. Okay, so difference in little and big wands, part 2 is little wands you're holding here and you shoot like this, bing, bing. And big ones, the handle is still at the drawing end. The energy comes in here and it goes out here. If you have a big one, your handle is still at the top. The drawing end is here. The shooting out end is here. And you use it different, okay? So instead of pointing and swishing and flick, right?
Which would be dangerous.
You more use a bigger wand for a group and a shorter wand for yourself. And you send out the energy, and when you do, you hold your arms up and you hold the energy and you hold it on to the very tip of your wand, and you let the energy go all the way out to the gods, and then you bring it back in and you impregnate the circle with it when you touch the ground with it. It's different, you see. So as this one, you would use on this kind of a circle for yourself personally instead of a group. Good question.
That's well stated because it is energetically they are different.
Yes.
And the way you use them is different. And you put it into words really well. I would have had to think about that for a while.
Thank you. I've been explaining stuff for a minute. I'm a teacher at heart. And why? Well, the reason that we go into teaching is because we run out of questions. That's what happened to me anyway.
I haven't run out of questions yet, Bella.
Well, I ran out of questions, and then I wanted other people's questions, and then I would go and find the answers to those. Yeah, I have inquiring minds want to know. That's me.
Yes. Why? That's me. Why do you do that?
So, how about well, you guys, when you're making a wand, how about, okay, wait a minute. I know what I wanted to talk about next. I was like, I've lost my place. So what do you think about wands like this, Lillith?
Is that all crystal?
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're awesome, but again, we're talking totally different energy. I've used those in healing sessions and in initiations more than in like casting circles or
I believe that these are more for healing or for working with the fae, working with earth spirits, things like that. And same thing with this. Like this is a selenite wand. This is a selenite wand. This is, you cleanse your aura with this. You can cleanse other people's aura with that. And then this is a Beziosite, which is also, you use this end to draw out and you use this end to add in.
Yeah.
And
Somebody's asking if it's okay to buy your wand or should you make them. I think that it's fine to buy a wand. What do you think? I
I
think
think
it's fine.
I think whenever the question is either or, the answer is both.
I love it. Yes. It has to
Why
do with
not both?
it has to do with your abilities too, because as we grow in our craft, we grow in what we're able to do. So, like this wand is really plain. And if I wanted to do something fancy to it, like say I wanted to bead it like that beautiful wand you have, I'd have to learn a lot to do that, wouldn't I? I'd have to learn how to bead. I'd have to learn how to attach it to the wood. I'd have to learn how to set my intention while I did all that. So, you know, are you going to wait all those years to get it done? I mean, no. The answer is no, don't wait. Go and get one.
Correct. This was made by who was this made by? Ken.
Um, Carl.
Carl. This was made by a woodworker named Carl. I don't remember his last name. Dusty will come up with it. But the reason that I have all these different kinds of wands is because you don't just have one. And when I was first taught how to make fairy faith wands with all the crystals on them and stuff like that, like this one, Carl Ferret, I went just crazy with wand making, and I made my standard wand, and then I made chakra wands, and then I made wands that would do this and wands that would do that. I'm a fire sign. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with me. And it culminated in Marissa, which was my flying broom that I showed you. And then I was like, okay, I'm wound out. Okay, I'm unwound. I have blown my wand, so to speak. I've done all of the wand making that I want to for a while. But we're going to have a wand making workshop at the Mother Church this summer. And I'm super excited to do it. We're putting the event together. I don't remember when it is. I bet that somebody on here knows where it is and when it is and can post the details. And if not, I'll find it for later. But it's literally going to be going out in the woods, finding the right kind of wand. We'll talk about all the different kind of woods that you use. Because, like, what is your favorite kind of wood to use, Lillith? I love willow, and because it's for healing. And I also love holly, because it's
nice.
Beautiful white wood, and it's transformation and change. And I like to put red stones on it because of my lady Persephone,
Yes, that's awesome. I think I tend towards ash and oak. Those are the two. Now, ash is becoming really hard to find, or if you want to go by its witch name, rowan, it's becoming much harder to find because of the ash borer beetles. But I still find it to be. But I've used other woods, lots of other woods. When I was out in California, I actually used eucalyptus out there, which was kind of an odd.
I love eucalyptus.
Not a typical one.
No, that's the thing, is that would be a very specific kind of wand. I imagine it would be good for lung ailments. So how do you store a wand? Well, you can make a little pouch. You can make a little box. This one lives in this box that is filled with tissue paper. It keeps it safe. I have a little rack on the wall that's got all these little things in it, and all the little wands go on it. You can wrap it in a scarf. You can keep it in some bureaus, and they have the skinny drawers. You can put your candles and your wands in there. I just like to keep them really nice. I like crepe myrtle too, Dusty. I have found that oak is masculine energy and crepe myrtle is the feminine of the same kind of energy.
Wow.
Both of them hard as heck. Hard as heck. You got to use a Dremel to carve on one of those.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about leaving it on your altar? I put whatever I feel like I need to on my altar. I know some people say you shouldn't put your athame on your altar, but why not? It's a sacred blade. So
I think it depends on, well, I have so many altars. So I have an altar that has shelves underneath it. So even if it's not on my altar, it's going to be on one of those shelves. Um, just because all my sacred tools need to be in the same space for me. I try to be organized that way. Otherwise, they'd be all over the house like the rocks, right?
Yeah. so I went. It's so funny because WiccanCauldron.com is the church store, right? And I had somebody buy a tiger's eye, or maybe it was a hematite, and I just ran out of hematite, and I couldn't. And I was like, I know there's a hematite in this house somewhere, and I went and found one. So they got to been sitting around the house for a long time, hematite instead of one freshly out of a distributor somewhere. But I
Oh,
thought
it
that was
probably had
really
great
funny.
energy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I thought it was awesome to get that kind of a rock
Yeah.
from the Mother Church. But it's funny because the rocks they find their way into all of these places, and the magic just flows. You have to let it do that. People always wonder why witches have such, like in some homes, everything has a place and everything's in its place, right? But in my home, everything that I need is within 3 feet of me. And that means it moves all around on its own, right?
Well, here's me. How did you get there? Aren't you supposed to be upstairs?
Well, we have both Pete and Stuart Farah living here because they're both in the Hecate Shrine and Grandma
Wow.
Fussy. So things move around, and Pete, I told Pete he didn't have to leave, and he didn't. So yeah, things happen, and I love it that way. That's the magic of living in a witch's house, right?
I don't know that other people view it that way, but yes.
Ah, that is part of the magic of living in a witch's house too.
I think the funniest story I ever had was when one of my sons, I don't remember which one. Anyway, somebody came over and was talking to one of my sons and they said, "I don't want to come in your house." And my son said, "Why not?" And he said, "Because I saw a bat go in your window." I'm thinking, there's a bat in my house? The poor bat. We've got to find the bat.
Where's the bat? I gotta get it and release it.
There
Yeah.
was no bat in the house. It went up in the eaves.
Came in here one morning, there was a bat in the corner. We live up in paradise, which means it's in the middle of nowhere. There was a bat in the corner of my office, and we finagled a netting thing, and we got it out, and we saved the bat. But we're not scared of him. We don't want him to be
The
hurt.
poor bat, it's got to be terrified it can't get out.
Right, right. So I got other wands to show you. So
Oh,
a lot of
wonderful.
us that we have hair sticks that we use for, and you can have magical hair sticks. Now this is just a regular old chopstick right here, but you can put your hair up with it, and then you have your wand with you, and it's concealed. I like sticking my wand inside my sleeve, but it's
I have one
summertime.
right here too.
So yeah. And then this is a really cool wand, you guys. It's a magnifying glass on the end of that.
Oh my.
Isn't that really, really neat?
That is
Yeah.
neat.
And then this Isadora, who we are always grateful for Isadora for running our tech for us and putting everybody's questions up and stuff. Her husband made this beautiful thing. It's a pen,
Nice.
magical writing instrument.
That's very nice.
So when you're doing magic, I'm gonna say once again, one of the greatest things that my husband Dusty taught me is that if you can imagine it, you can do it. So if you can imagine it, figure out how you can put it into a wand, and then you have a permanent generator of energy for that endeavor. Right?
I find that it's really important when you have a wand, especially if it's one that you connect to that's wooden, that you look into the the meaning and the symbolism of the tree, you know,
And
because that's usually a really big, either a big source of power for you or an important lesson.
right, absolutely. Figure out the kind of wood has magical properties. If you're going to use, I like garnet sandpaper. I don't know. Somebody said it was hard to find now, but I like garnet sandpaper. And then you want to use, if you're going to put oils on it, I don't put linseed. Well, no, petroleum-based products. I don't put petroleum-based products on it. Or like, oh, it's not linseed oil, it's something else, tungsten oil. If I don't know, if I can't look up the magical properties of it, I don't put it on my wand, right? I don't put any of those shellacs that go on the outside. That's the word I'm looking for.
I've
Because
used olive oil and even grapeseed oil. You know, if you got olive oil in your kitchen, that's related to an olive tree. You know, it's the power of the mother right there.
yes. And like I'll put patchouli oil on a prosperity wine with citrine and other things that go towards prosperity. And then you want to, all of the things you pick, like my flying broom, all of the things that are on my flying broom are related to flying, astral projection. Do witches fly? I do. That's my broom. Got one. Check. Next, right? So let's talk about the card and the divinatory properties of it. Lillith, if you pulled this for yourself in an oracle deck, what would you think it meant to you, for you?
Well, this card itself, the fact that it's the Two of Wands and it's got a star there and it's got roses and it's got some leaves on it, but the leaves aren't dead. I would look at that and I would say that has to do with expansion, growth, and it could be prosperity. But I'm looking there and the stone at the bottom definitely looks like it's a root chakra stone. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking this is all about standing in your power and expanding that power, especially as, you know, we all tend to be, especially when we're around mundane society, we all tend to pull our energy in real tight, you know. So if I looked at that card, I would think that means I need to stand tall in as who I am and expand that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be like, if I saw it, I would be like, I need to protect what's sacred to me. The star behind the X of Wands means to me that somebody needs protecting that I cherish, probably myself.
That's a
But
good one too. Yeah.
but that I need to do it in a loving way. That it's not an actual threat. Like I don't need to bring a knife, but it is something that I need to stand up for. Draw a line in the sand. I always consider wands. It's more like drawing a line in the sand, setting a firm boundary. This is my firm boundary, and then swords are what you get when you cross that boundary.
Right, right, right. There's a warning in that card too, as you're saying about something that needs to be protected. And I do see that because the leaves are not attached also.
Yeah, right.
So even though there's the X there, the leaves are not attached. So where do they need to be? You know, why are you losing your leaves? I guess is
Brenna said that it's Gebo gift, the X is. And so
protect the gifts that the gods give you. That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah. So
Thank you, brother.
that's really nice. Awesome. So if you guys have any more questions, let's answer them now. She says she sees growth and magic in every direction. Growth, beauty, magic, and direction. Awesome. Working with others to create the joint energy. X means love for me with this, right? It means blessing to me. Like that's what you do when you're anointing or blessing someone. Yeah.
Right, right. X marks the spot. That's a good
Right.
one.
Yeah, great. Okay. So let's see. Okay. checking in with Isadora. We have a few minutes left. So I wanted to talk about GodCon. Lilith, have you ever seen GodCon? You've seen it online, right?
I've seen it online. That's all. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So GodCon is coming up. I know that our fantastic Namir Laveau knows exactly the date and time because she's running it. But we're doing an online portion and we're doing a in-person portion. The online portion you'll get to see on Thursday night before GodCon. And
Okay.
then we'll have GodCon on the weekend. It's going to be here at the Mother Church. And what it is, it used to be called the monologues, but it's a parade of deities where people that want to be in festivals or just want to offer up worship to the deities come and present deities. Now, in Wicca, we worship with invocation. We invoke deity into us and let it experience he or she it experience earth and use our voices, use our hands to do work. So people come and dress up as deities and introduce themselves to the attendees as that deity, and we feel the spirit and we get all kinds of really interesting and relevant messages for the day. And so if you want to come to GodCon, I invite you to come. It's July 21st through the 23rd. That is a fantastic time to be outside in Washington. It'll be sunny. It'll be beautiful. The river will be nice. We'll have a great time. It's camping. So maybe we could get a link if people want to come, then they can register. And then I want to remind you that if you want to see more of Lillith Threefeathers in your life, she does fantastic classes at wiccanseminary.edu. But Lilith, where else might they find you and your wonderful works?
Well, I do travel to the Midwest Shamans Conference every year. COVID kind of blew up my schedule and it hasn't really gotten back. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of traveling. I do have some other things that I do online, mostly through an organization in New York called Ladies Wellness Experience. But I have other places that I teach randomly. It's unfortunately not as organized right now as it was prior to COVID. That's BC, before COVID.
Before COVID, right? Well, I think we're all getting back on it. I was like, I was talking to a student today, and I was this close to being like, why don't you be my tour manager and plan me a tour? And then I went, oh, my dog cannot take me being gone. And I just didn't because we're we just have to get back. Oh, there's the URL for GodCon 23.
Awesome.
So that's really exciting. I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be a really good time.
But I do teach at a Midwest Shamans Conference, which is a small event that happens outside on some really nice property in northern Ohio. And I do go there every year still.
Fantastic for our East Coast people. Yay! Yeah, you kind of have to travel around to get to see all the great people because we're all over the place, which is good and bad.
I miss the Pacific Northwest. It's so gorgeous out there.
We're gonna have to bring you back out. Have to have you come out for sickle, I guess. Something
Maybe.
like that.
Maybe we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I have to get all my surgeries done first.
Okay, that sounds good. So if you would like to, we're going to meet every week at 5 o'clock Pacific, which means that's 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock on the Eastern Time Zone on Monday, and we're going to present a different topic on Wicca. We're so excited to have you join us. I love to have the different views because it truly shows you that there's all of these different ways that you can do magic, and it all works because if you can imagine it, you can do magic with it, right? And Lilith, thank you so much for being here with us. You were such a joy to my life. I love having you as my mother-in-law, and I love having you as a teacher in the college, and I love having you as a sister in ministry. You are such a treasure of information. Thank you for doing this for us
Oh,
tonight.
thank you, Bella. And I would say the same thing all back to you. I love having you in my life also. And
Thank,
it's great what you're doing with the seminary and with ATC. It's pretty miraculous to see how it's blossoming. It's wonderful.
thank you so much. You're going to make me all weepy. I love you.
I
Thank
love you
you.
too.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and watching today. And if you, WiccanCauldron.com, atcwicca.org. There's this beautiful new necklace that I have that are the new pledge member gifts. Let me come up and show you what it looks like if I can. It is a Hecate
Nice.
wheel. Can you see it? It's
Yes.
cut out. It's a cutout Hecate. What's it called, Dusty? And it's got this awesome chain that's really nice and it doesn't pinch me at all. That's the new pledge gift. If you're a pledging member of the ATC, we give you gifts every quarter because we love you and appreciate you, and we want you to know that we're thinking about you. Thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. Y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday.